Just a quick disclaimer that this podcast talks about sensitive topics such as anxiety, some talk about drugs, some swear words, and also some trauma. So just a disclaimer, but I promise you this is a very open chat, but I just had to mention that before, just in case. Welcome back to the Making It podcast. Today I'm with a very special friend. This is Joao Hill. Now, I met Joao in first year at uni, so we've known each other a good few years now. Joao came over from Gibraltar to Newcastle to study psychology at Northumbria. And you've been on a journey, bro. Now, something happened to Joao about a couple years ago, and Joao wants to share his story today and how it affected him. It's related to trauma and some anxiety. So he's been very brave in being open. So Joao, it's your platform. Would you like to kind of introduce how things kind of unfolded from the beginning?
So, if I'm going to share my story, I need to start from the beginning, bro. And I'll start from who I've been, as a person, because it's a story of self-development and ego and the self, okay? So I started off as a kid who was quite popular in school, yeah? And I can't lie, it got to my head, bro.
And Gibraltar's quite a small place.
And Gibraltar's a tiny place. So obviously, it was always a thing of like people chatting about me, bro. And like I'd get a lot of attention from girls, you know what I mean? Like I say this not to be big-headed, bro, but like I have got a lot of attention from girls in my life, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be like that. But anyways, that obviously fed into my confidence, which I feel like is a cycle. Because the more confident you are, the more people respond to you. No? So yeah, grew up in Gibraltar, small place. People always talking about everyone, and I was always like a centerpiece. People would talk about me a lot. Okay. So yeah, come to uni, meet you in futsal.
Yeah.
When I tore my ACL, bro,
Yeah.
which was really unlucky. And I think that has a big part to play in what happened, no? So tore my ACL first week of uni, which is kind of fucked up, bro. And met you though from it, because I wouldn't have met you if I didn't tear it. So obviously, because I tore my ACL, I just ended up going gym every day and just going out. I couldn't play sports, no? So I just started going out loads. Obviously, I would have gone out a lot, but because I couldn't play sport, I probably went out more. And I was going out five times a week. You know what I mean? In first year. But I was loving life, bro. Because I was like away from that small bubble that is Jib, and I felt like I could be whoever I wanted to be, bro. I could show up, and people's preconceptions of me weren't there. So I feel like I could be whoever I wanted to be. I could be like this guy that speaks up when it matters, bro. Or he does he does the right thing, bro. You know what I mean? Like that is genuinely like that was my philosophy in first year. Like obviously I was learning like living in a new country and stuff, but I was chasing like my authentic self, bro. I was chasing like to be the best version of myself so that you can lift up the others around you, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I could see that as well, being your friend. Like you were always striving for improvements.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, I do realize now that there was ego there. There was a lot of ego there because I would just get a lot of like I would get attention. You know what I mean from girls.
You knew quite a few people as well. Like if you're on campus, you were dapping people up, saying hello to people. Even here, quite a few people knew who you were.
Yeah. Like I go to the beach when we went to the beach like 2 weeks ago. I must have seen 15 people I know, bro. You know what I mean? And like in first year, I'd go out and I'd see loads of people I know. You know what I mean? Like out or like just around uni and stuff. I knew a lot of people around uni. I was really enjoying myself. I started to really start to grind as well in the gym, and I think I was in my best. I had my best physique ever, because I was just like gym, swimming, sauna, running. You know, like I was doing good. I was meditating as well, bro. In first year, just only 10 minutes, and like I was also getting like really good, like first on every exam, no?
Yeah.
And I was doing really well. And then I started promoting as well. whilst I was also working in a bar, and people just started to know who I was. No, I started to enjoy myself, and I started to go out. I went out last one night. It was a Tuesday night, and I was actually having one of the best nights of my life, bro, with Isaac and Luke, bro. And I must have drunk too much, and I just got ended up getting blackout, bro. So I got blackout, and like next morning I woke up and like my tooth was missing, and like this bit was fucked up. No, I still got the scar there. So yeah, that was like it was shitty, bro, in the situation, no, and I felt like I was annoyed, bro. But the worst part was not that bit. Like obviously being by myself here in uni and having to deal with that, bro. You know what I mean? And like having to go to the dentist, and like the day after it happened, I had to go to A&E and I was hungover and I had to wait there for like 7 hours, bro.
Yeah.
That was like that part of it was the worst part. You know what I mean? When I was hungover, on barely any sleep, not even knowing what happened, bro. I had no idea what happened. I was blackout, bro. Maybe I was being a dickhead and I deserved it when I was blackout. But like at the same time, I was blackout drunk, but that's not me. But anyways, I was in A&E for 7 hours, and just like that bit was hard, bro. You know what I mean? Just being there and like being by myself, being fucked up, bro, which is not a nice feeling as a man. You know what I mean?
And then, so what then changed from that experience? When did you kind of notice that things weren't quite the same as before?
So wasn't necessarily the knockout, bro. It was the bit after this part, which is when I'd go out and I go to the beach, I go to the library, and I'd see like groups of people, and they'd be like, oh, that's the guy that got knocked out. You know what I mean?
And you could hear them
I
saying
could
that.
hear it, and like I would look over, and I would see a group of people like staring at me and saying that, and I don't know, I felt so exposed and so like defenseless against like groups of people, bro. Because like, what am I supposed to say? You know what I mean? Maybe in hindsight probably should have said something to a lot of people, bro. But it's like I think because I felt exposed, bro, and I felt like so many people were just laughing at me, and it was like a group of like men and women, and they were just laughing at me, bro. I was always like a lot of the time by myself. I felt like I couldn't speak up and say something to them, so just ignored it, bro. And I ignored it, and I carried on, and I started grinding, bro. I started going boxing and stuff like that. But then obviously that that part is what got to me, bro. So started affecting my sleep. I didn't realize what was happening, bro. Like I've never experienced that before. You know what I mean? Just couldn't sleep when I would get back from work.
Why is that?
What?
Were you overthinking?
I didn't even know, bro. I just like, yeah, I guess. But like in the moment, I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? I just like that happened to me. I carried on living my life, and then the bad stuff started happening to me. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, just not sleeping. Then I had to stop smoking because every time I smoked, I just get like bad paranoia, bro. That's what essentially it was. It was about the fact that I thought that people were making fun of me, bro. No. So yeah. Anyways, I went to Brazil after uni because this was like near the end of uni, and then after Brazil, I got back to Jib, and that's when it started getting bad. No,
Why is that?
because obviously my whole life in Jib, it's always been like that, you know, and in school, it is like that. No, like everyone's like,
Everyone's talking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But obviously, my brain was obviously encoded for that threat of what happened, no, the traumatic experience that happened. And yeah, in I just used to go out with my friends, and I just didn't enjoy myself. So I started going out less and less, less and less,
Why weren't you enjoying yourself?
because I felt like, and I knew that it wasn't like real, bro. But I felt like people were making fun of me, bro.
Yeah.
You know
Even
what I mean?
though it happened in Newcastle, that transferred over to
Yeah,
Gibraltar.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I started doing things. You know, you start doing things to like avoid people making fun of you. You know what I mean? And
Like what?
and you become like performative, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't just be yourself, bro. Because you're like, you're like, you're just anxious all the time, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're on edge, bro. Came back to uni for second year, and then that's when like it got bad, bro. You know what I mean? Like
Would you say
is
that
like,
was the worst point?
yeah,
Yeah.
second year last year, bro.
Yeah.
That was the worst point. Like I was just in a house with what 9 other people, and like I do nothing all day, bro. You know what I mean? Like for the whole year, I just feel shitty, and like I I couldn't like even fix my sleep schedule, bro. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't. I would go to bed at like 6 a.m. in the morning, wake up at like 2.
Is that because you were so anxious to do anything
Yeah,
or
because I
get
could
out
just,
into the world? And
yeah. The only thing that I promise you during that period kept me from maybe doing something bad, which I wouldn't have done anyways. That's not me. But what like really like kept me not at the very bottom is the gym, bro. I go to the gym every day. I'd have to go because if I didn't go gym, I feel shitty. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because like the gym is just it's such a good thing, bro. Like I love it. You know what I mean?
Makes you feel good.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was the hardest period, bro. Just being there alone. You know what I mean? Not knowing what's going on, bro. I would speak to doctors, and doctors don't know shit, bro. You know what I mean? You speak to a therapist, and for me personally, therapy did not do anything, bro. Um,
Didn't you try some medication as well and it didn't
yeah,
work
yeah,
as well?
didn't
Yeah.
work at all, bro. Because I was expecting a quick fix, but medication, bro. We've literally done this recently.
Yeah.
That's what I did my essay on, and yeah, it only does only a 0.20 effect size, bro. So it's not even that much. You know what I mean? Small to medium.
So then because I remember me and Joao went for a walk and we got a coffee and went for a walk. And I remember when things weren't in a good place for you, bro, and you were really trying to find solutions. But like you say, you were looking for quick fixes
Yeah,
and you just realistically, you didn't know what to do.
yeah. I
So
remember that walk now, bro.
yeah,
Yeah.
so from that point, how did you progress and start to transition from being in the lowest point of it to gradually becoming better?
So that walk just reminded me, bro, of how I used to think, yeah. When I was at my lowest, bro, and a lot of people are like this, bro. I used to think that because someone hit me, if I hit someone else, I'd feel better about myself. I realized recently that that it's not there's no like comprehension there, bro. There's no that it doesn't make sense, bro. You know what I mean? But because I was in such a bad place, bro, and I thought like, um, oh, what these people and what that guy took away from me, I'm gonna if I do that, I'll feel better about myself. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There's a
yeah.
lot of ego there, but at the end of the day, I got saved by Luke, bro, by your
Our
flatmate.
friend Luke, yeah.
Yep, because
Shout out Luke.
shout out Luke, bro. He um he helped me through it, bro, because he's gone through some stuff as well. And obviously, this was at the end of second year. I started knowing like I need to do something now, bro. Like I was at the point where like I was at my last straw. Like I needed to do something now. You know what I mean? Like I needed a solution,
A turning
a
point, yeah.
turning point. So I worked here after uni. So I stayed here in June by myself, bro. I was literally in that massive mansion in Jesmond by myself all day, bro. Um, and like just working here, but it was so shit, bro. Because obviously, every time you go out, you if you're dealing with something like this, it's a fucking battle, bro. You know what I mean? You go outside and you feel shame. You feel shame. Your heart is beating like that and skipping beats. Um, and you just don't feel good. You know what I mean? You feel like just not good, bro.
Yeah.
Not good. You know what I mean?
And then so how did you what was that turning point and how did you start to progress and improve yourself?
So Luke gave me the blueprint, bro. I spoke to him about it, and he told me that he's been through something similar, and he told me that he got out of it through working, bro. That's what I did. I went back to Jib, which is somewhere I didn't want to go back to, because it's like I used to be that guy in Jib, like, oh, this guy Joao who like gets loads of girls and like he's got aura, bro, and stuff like that. And then I come back to Jib and I'm like this guy that is maybe anxious, socially awkward to other people. You know what I mean? And that was like a big part of it was a big fear of mine, bro.
Yeah.
Being seen as as different to who I used to be, bro.
Yeah. Being seen
So
as vulnerable.
as vulnerable,
Yeah.
yeah, and being seen as like as weird and different. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I went back and I started working in a restaurant. I started working 6 days a week, and this was the hardest thing in my life by far, bro. You know what I mean? Like that period was 2 months, bro. 2.5 months of just working in a restaurant, and like that period was like it was just like pain and suffering, bro.
Just do you feel like that was just you, almost like exposure, like just
It was
exposing
exposure
yourself
therapy.
to it? Yeah.
That's what it was. It was exposure therapy. But it's like having to having to force myself to be there every day and like be there and stay in that situation with my heart beating like that, feeling like everyone's making fun of me, bro. You know what I mean? Feeling like um like my colleagues are all making fun of me. Feeling like I just like I was weird and I like didn't belong there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the feeling, bro. That's the it's like the inherent belief in your brain. Um, and forcing myself to do that every day, bro. You know what I mean? Whilst feeling shitty and having no like rewards. That was the hardest part. Not having rewards, instant rewards from doing this. It was so hard. Like, and I still had to do it every day. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
And then yeah.
there was no rewards, bro.
And then how did you, from doing that, how did that then, how was that leverage to then become better and feel less anxious? And did the exposure work or did it not?
It did.
Yeah.
So basically, it was so shit for the first 5 weeks, bro. Because there was no like, the only thing that got me through it, bro, I promise you, was doing that, coming home, and then um, watching motivational reels on Instagram, bro. And it sounds quite sad, bro. That's the only thing that could get me through something like that, you know, because it was not easy, bro. So yeah, after 5 weeks, I felt a shift in my solar plexus, bro, and you feel it. You feel calmness, bro. You feel a little switch, and that gave me like the motivation to go, bro. And at that point, I resat my exams for second year because I didn't go to school and I didn't go to uni in second year. And and I resat, got through this period at work, and passed my exams. And then I came back to uni in third year, and that's when things started to get better, bro.
Did that feel
So
like this is a, because we're at the end of our third year now, at the start of third year, did that feel like a new opportunity to come back in a way to someone you wanted to be and someone who felt a lot more at peace?
yeah, um, it was more the way I treated it, bro. Was like it was like I treated like I had a disease that I needed to get rid of, bro.
And how did that help you?
It gave me motivation because like gave me the drive to like to to go at it and do anything I could. But I realize now that like it's a normal emotion, bro. You know what I mean? And like you can, even if you have it, it doesn't make you like doesn't make you like inherently weird or like not worthy. Doesn't make you not worthy of being around people and having friends and having like having a relationship and stuff like that. That's a realization I've had recently, bro. But yeah, anyways, this part was like September, October. I'd done the 2 months of exposure. That was hard. That was the hardest part. Then I got back here. I started doing inner work, bro. Inner, like a lot of inner work. So I go uni. I do my uni work. I go gym and stuff. But I just all day I'd look forward to meditating, bro. Obviously, every day was still a struggle, bro. Like every day of that whole experience was a struggle, bro. It was hard because you're numb and you're not yourself and whatever, and your body is just up here all the time. So started doing inner work, started doing 40-minute meditations of like, I'd go into like, I'm gonna explain the meditation.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So there was kind of like two types of meditations I would do, but I would let my mind take me through the meditation. So there'd be like observer mode, which is like, that's what I call it, and like I've seen on YouTube, I did a lot of research on it. It's when you're doing the meditation and like you're just you're watching your thoughts and they're just passing. You know what I mean? And you're just like here.
Yeah.
You're just presence. You're like you're being, bro. You know what I mean? So that was like it's an incredible feeling, bro. At one point, I'll be honest with you, I've done drugs before, and I may have done like hard drugs, and at one point when I was meditating, I felt the same feeling as doing MDMA, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's how beautiful it is, bro. And I recommend a lot of people to try out, to try meditation. So I did that one, and then I did shadow work as well, which is very important. So that is just like going into your mind and like you speak to parts of yourself that are like afraid or angry or or like or shameful. You know what I mean? Or like ashamed of what happened, because that's what it was. It was shame, bro. Because I was ashamed of what happened. I couldn't believe that that happened to me, and I was also ashamed of like and angry about how everyone laughed at me, bro. That was the part that got me, bro. You know what I mean? Like that was the part that really pissed me off, bro. I still have a bit of anger now, huh? Because it's annoying, bro. But I had to deal with that anger, bro. Because if you don't deal with it, you just become a horrible person, bro. And that's what I became, bro. You know what I mean? I was a dickhead, bro, during that time. So I I started like you kind of like speak to parts of yourself, bro. And I would speak to my angry part, and you have to speak to it like an adult, bro. You know what I mean? Because it's a
Like
part
having a
of you.
conversation
It's
in a
like your
way.
inner child, bro. You know what I mean? It's genuinely your inner child, bro. And you speak to it, and you're like, and you're telling it like, it's shit what happened, bro. But you can let it go, bro. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to carry this anger with you anymore, bro. You know what I mean? You don't have to be angry at people because of what happened, because of everything you lost. You know what I mean? And so I started speaking to that. Started speaking to because that was the main part, bro. It was like the angry part of me and my ego, essentially. And over time, it was a long process of getting up every day and like forcing myself to do things and forcing myself to meditate. And over time, I started to get better, and you'd get a little bit better. And then some days it'd be like that, bro. You'd get like that, and you go down. But then you'd come back up, and you'd be maybe on the same level, and you see a little like incline, and you'd be like, okay, I can keep going. And then you go down again, then you come back up. You know what I mean? So you just have to carry on going, carry on fucking fighting, bro, every day. You know, I carried on doing that inner work, carried on grinding uni, and um, you know, I was still angry. Like recently, I got into a fight, bro. I'll be honest with you, and I knocked a guy out, bro. You know what I mean? And like for the longest time, I remember I thought, oh, knocking some guy out was gonna like was gonna change me, and it changed nothing, bro. But when it happened, when I knocked the guy out, I realized that like I had grief for the person I was, bro. You know what I mean? The person I was before I learned everything about myself, bro. You know what I mean? For that guy that was pissed off and didn't know what to do in that situation, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, carried on going, carried on living my life, and then now I'm at a point where I captained the football team the other day in front of like people that know what happened, no? In uni, because a lot of people do know what happened. And I fucking manifested that shit, bro. In summer when I was in my room, fucking like feeling like shit, bro, trying to get through that restaurant days. And I manifested that shit of me playing footy and being myself and like being able to be in that situation, bro. You know what I mean? And then now I've gotten to a point where I'm still like dealing with it. I've started to realize that I can live my life anyways, even if this is here,
You can
bro.
coexist with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I can be in a relationship and like I'm worthy of being in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like because I have this doesn't make me like it doesn't make me not well in the head, bro. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It
yeah.
doesn't make me like not worthy of someone liking me, bro. Like I've started seeing this girl recently, first person I've been with in 2 years, and like she cares about me for me, and it's like it's kind of hard to accept that right now,
Mm.
which is what I'm working on, because like it's been so long where I just felt like, how could someone like me? You know what I mean? If like I'm this way, how can someone like me? But I'm getting to the point now where like I'm able to do things, and I realize that like I can do things, bro. You know what I mean? And I can go and play footy with my friends and just be a normal person, bro. Just because I have this doesn't stop me from being me, bro.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Learning to live with it.
Learning
Yeah.
to live with it. And also I'm going to that No Arts Festival next week. I don't know if you've seen that.
No,
It's
no.
a festival in the castle, bro, in Manchester. So it's sick. It's like a house event. So you know, like Marco Carola
I recognize,
is
yeah.
like a DJ, a Visa DJ. I'm going with this girl, and like obviously there's some anxiety of going there, but like now I realize I can do things. I can live my life. I can be who I want, um, without like being scared to do it, bro.
So would the story kind of be you're never going to be perfect like none of us are, and you're going to have these things that are in your mind, but you've now understood that it's no longer has to be a fight. You've accepted that it's there, and you've learned to live with it, and you've learned to process it, and you now understand your relationship with it more. Would you say before you were fighting it, and now you've accepted it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot of acceptance, bro. It's a lot of acceptance for the fact that like it was more just the fact that I'd known, I'd thought I'd known who I was for so long, and I had this image of myself. It was my ego of this guy that like is extroverted, speaks to everyone, hardworking, and all that. And then it was going from that to this person that is socially awkward and like anxious and like afraid to speak to people and maybe like seen as weird. And it was hard to accept that. And I realized through this experience that it's okay not to be okay, bro. You know what I mean? It's okay to be to some days be angry, to some days be weird, to some because you're human at the end of the day, bro. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that was it was an experience, bro. It was a fucking like journey, bro. You know what I mean? And it's only recently that I realized like it is worth it, bro. You know what I mean? I couldn't accept that before because I wanted to go back to who I was before, which was this unconscious. I was unconscious essentially. What I would say, like I was just living my life. Whereas now, I just have a lot more knowledge on everything, bro.
And who
I
you
would
are,
say
yeah.
on myself, you know.
So what are you excited now for the future? In the position you are now on your journey with this, where do you see things going, and what are you kind of excited for?
That's why I've like yesterday I was doing a meditation. First meditation I haven't meditated in like two months, bro. And it was after seeing that girl, and the meditation took me through like a kind of like journey as well. No, it was only like a 20-minute meditation. At the beginning, it was like recent memories of just anxious moments, but then it took me to like recent memories of like fun and engaging conversations with people. And then it took me to this incredible present feeling. And then it took me to the future, bro, which is just living my life, bro. You know what I mean? Like being being me, bro. Being able to go after the things that I want to do. So now I'm looking forward to just literally going on holiday with friends, you know, or um, going to that festival with that girl, you know, which is a lovely experience, or uh, working towards my goal, which is trying to work remotely in like Brazil or something, you know, and just living like my life and working on myself, doing my fitness, doing my boxing. I'm gonna start. I'll probably do my fight in October. And I used to think that like I would do a fight to like for my comeback. You know what I mean? But now I realize that like it's not about that, bro.
What's it about now?
It's about living for me, bro. Not living
But
for anyone else.
so what's your purpose with boxing now? What's your purpose with wanting to do a boxing fight?
For myself, bro. Just so I can tell myself that like I've done that. You know what I mean? And like also it's not even about doing the actual fight, it's about the training part, bro.
But it's actually a health. Boxing is actually a healthy, healthily managed environment for people to actually, let those emotions come out. Like that's
Yeah,
not. It's not out on the street. It's not in a park. That is actually. It's a sport. So
exactly.
you're actually channeling that energy in a purposeful way.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And it's more about just the right now. It's about going going through the training and stuff and like and doing that part.
proving to yourself you can do it. Yeah.
The discipline. You know what I mean? It's about proving to myself that I can do things, and that is what builds your self respect, bro. You know?
Amazing, bro. And I just want to share, like, having known you throughout this whole time, I think especially that point in second year where, you definitely said to me before, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to complete this year, like, I might have to redo it. The fact you had that academic comeback, you went into that restaurant and you worked and you really, yes, you've had some ups and downs, but you really persevered.
Mm,
And I think you really should be proud of yourself, bro. And I really appreciate you coming on to like speak about this experience because it can help someone else who's experiencing it too. Because I know a couple of people who have the same sort of similar experience. So it's good to kind of share that and be proud of yourself, bro, because you've come a long way. And now you're in a position where you can be yourself and you can be that good person who originally, when you started first year, you wanted to be. But now it's an even better way because you've gone through that process.
yeah.
So be proud of yourself. And just coming towards the end of this, is there anything else you'd like to share or get off your chest? If there isn't, that's fine because you've shared enough. But just wanted to open that platform for you just in case there was.
I would say that the best advice I could give anyone is you gotta go through the fire, man. You gotta go through. It's fucking shit, bro. But you gotta go through. You gotta persevere, and that's what life's about, bro. You're gonna have these hard moments in life, and a lot of people will go through something like this in their life. You know what I mean? I thought I was like, when I was at my worst, I thought I was the only one that this would happen to. And then recently, I realized there's so many people that have had similar experiences, bro. Because the umbrella term is depression, bro. You
Mm.
know, and anyone that's going through it, you'll find your own way of getting through it. You just need to persevere and carry on going through it. And the other side is fucking beautiful, man. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm nearly there, and it's to know that you've gone through that, and you yourself. When I was in that room last year by myself, fighting my mind every day, and then now I'm here, and I know that I got myself through that. No one else. Luke helped me. He gave me the blueprint, but I was the one that went to that restaurant every day. I was the one that showed up and got out of bed when everything was screaming at me. My whole body, because your body is in fight or flight, bro. And I was the only one that got myself through that, bro. And that is a different level of confidence. It's it's not about ego, how I used to think. I used to be so caught up with validation and being that guy that, girls liked, and like being cool and like having aura and shit like that. And at the end of the day, now the confidence that I have is that it's you feel it, it's solid. It's like it's internal, it's like it's deep self-respect, bro. You feel it in your stomach, bro. You know what I mean? If you know that whatever happens, bro, I've been through worse, bro. You know, I've lived my life with like with stress, with this level of stress, and I got through it, bro.
Yeah, well done, bro. Joao, thank you for coming on, man.
No stress.
Absolute pleasure. That's a different episode to what we've done before. A very powerful episode. Thanks for opening up.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that, man. And
Really
be proud of
enjoyed that,
yourself,
bro.
bro. You've done yourself proud, and you've got great things ahead, bro. So
Yeah,
keep striving
looking
forwards,
forward
man.
to it, man.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. That's been Joao. Thank you very much, brother. Take care.
Right all night. Feel so right.